You're walking down the street, headphones in, half listening to some podcast or random music playlist. But that's not what really has your attention, is it? It's the voice in your head, the endless chatter, the replay of conversations you had earlier, the worries about tomorrow, the sudden burst of self-criticism out of nowhere. What the hell is that voice, and why does it never shut up? That's what I wondered when I stumbled across this article by Alderson-Day and Fernyhough, buried deep in the abyss of academic reviews. They dissect the phenomenon of inner speech, something so everyday, so mundane, that you probably take it for granted. But once I dove in, I realized this isn't just about you having a conversation with yourself. This is about control, cognition, and whether that voice is even yours to begin with. Everyone talks to themselves, but not everyone is aware of it. For some, it's a constant dialogue, others, a fleeting murmur. The researchers point out that inner speech is everywhere, but it's not the same for everyone. That's where it gets interesting. Your inner monologue might be like a full-on TED Talk, but for the person next to you. Maybe it's more of a silent movie, or worse, a horror film. The real question is, how often do you even listen to it? And more importantly, who's speaking in that voice? Is it really you, or a patchwork of everyone you've ever met? This brings us to one of the granddaddies of modern psychology, Vygotsky. The man had this wild theory that inner speech starts as external, social dialogue, something your parents, teachers, or friends fed you, and only later you swallow it, internalize it, and make it your own. It's not your original thought, but it's a tool you develop. He saw inner speech as the ultimate hack for self-regulation, a way for kids to coach themselves through life. Which begs the question, if your thoughts started out as someone else's words, can you ever truly call them your own? John B. Watson, the behaviorist who thought everything could be boiled down to mechanical processes, saw inner speech as just your external speech turned down to a whisper. That's where he got it wrong. It's not about making speech quieter, it's about completely transforming it. Vygotsky realized that inner speech becomes something different. It's fragmented, abbreviated, a code only you can understand. Watson's reductionist view couldn't capture the weird complexity of it all. Think about it. Have you ever tried to really listen to your thoughts? It's like they're speaking in shorthand. If you tried to explain them out loud, it would sound insane. But in your head, it's perfectly clear. Ever watched a kid talk to themselves while playing? That's private speech, the precursor to inner dialogue. It's not just random babble, it's them figuring out how the world works. Kids literally talk their way through cognitive puzzles, using speech to self-regulate, guide, and plan. They narrate their actions because, at that moment, their brain is still learning how to internalize those instructions. What's crazy is, as we grow older, we stop talking out loud, but the self-talk doesn't disappear, it just moves inside. And here's the kicker, we still use it to navigate life's complexities. Have you ever caught yourself muttering under your breath before a big meeting? That's private speech, barely hanging on before it vanishes into inner speech. Let's talk about working memory. You know that little voice that repeats a phone number in your head until you write it down? That's inner speech in action, doing its dirty work in the trenches of your brain's phonological loop. Baddeley and Hitch nailed it with their multi-component model of working memory, where inner speech serves as the verbal scratch pad. It's more than just holding information. It's actively rehearsing it, recoding visual info into verbal form, and constantly juggling tasks. Ever wonder how many thoughts your brain can juggle at once before you drop them all? Turns out, without your inner voice, you'd be lost in the noise. But inner speech isn't just about memory. It's where you argue with yourself, reason through dilemmas, and maybe even practice those heated conversations you never actually have. Studies show it's different from external speech. It's condensed, fragmented, sometimes it doesn't even have words. It's like your brain is having an internal conversation in broken code. Think about it. When you talk to yourself, is it really full sentences, or is it something closer to thought fragments? And when those thoughts come, whose voice do they sound like? Let's get into something weird: auditory verbal hallucinations. No, I'm not talking about full-blown schizophrenia. Even perfectly sane people can hear voices. Maybe not all the time, but occasionally, that whisper in your head sounds a little too real, doesn't it? Inner speech and auditory hallucinations are connected in more ways than you'd think. The voices people hear in hallucinations. Some researchers believe it's just inner speech gone rogue, thoughts you've lost control of. That's when things get freaky. Is your inner voice always yours? Or is it something else, slipping through the cracks when your brain isn't looking? How the hell do you study something that doesn't make a sound? Inner speech is like a ninja, silent, invisible, but always lurking. The article talks about the different ways researchers try to catch it in the act: questionnaires, experience sampling, and dual task methods. But honestly, none of them are perfect. How do you measure a thought? You can't just slap a brain scanner on someone and say, there's a thought about what to have for lunch. It's messy, indirect, and most of the time, they're guessing. So how can we ever really understand something as intimate as inner speech? Or is it destined to stay in the shadows of science? If there's one thing inner speech is good at, it's motivating you. Think of every time you've told yourself, I can do this, before a big game, a test, or even just a tough day. Athletes, in particular, are known for using inner speech as a kind of mental coach. In fact, studies show that motivational self-talk can actually improve performance. You're not just imagining the boost, it's real. The brain feeds off that internal dialogue. But here's the twist. What happens when that inner coach turns into a critic? Do you pump yourself up, or do you tear yourself down? Now let's talk about the dark side. Inner speech can turn on you fast. When that voice in your head becomes your biggest critic, it doesn't just hurt your feelings, it can wreak havoc on your mental health. Ever heard of rumination? It's like getting stuck in a negative thought loop, where you keep replaying the same harsh, self-critical dialogue. And it can lead straight to depression and anxiety. Your brain is like a record player that's skipping, replaying the worst parts of your life over and over. So here's a challenge for you. Is your inner voice helping you or hurting you? And then there's creativity. If you're a writer, an artist, or a musician, you know that the creative process is like a conversation with yourself. Inner speech is where ideas are born, developed, and even criticized before they ever see the light of day. It's like having a brainstorming session inside your head, except the ideas come from every corner of your subconscious. The article talks about Votssky's idea that inner speech is dialogic, that it's always a conversation, even when it feels like solitary thought. So here's something to chew on. Is your creativity just you talking to yourself, or are there other voices at play? What if I told you that your inner voice isn't just a tool for thinking, but also a way to understand yourself? Inner speech plays a crucial role in metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. When you reflect on your thoughts, you're having a dialogue with yourself, analyzing your mental processes. It's like having a built-in therapist, constantly guiding you to question your choices, emotions, and even your identity. But are you really in control of that conversation? Or is your inner voice running the show, steering you down paths you'd rather not go? So where do we go from here? The future of inner speech research is wide open, from advances in neuroimaging to deeper philosophical inquiries into the nature of thought. Could we one day control or enhance our inner dialogue? And if so, what would that mean for humanity? Maybe we'll unlock new levels of cognition, or maybe we'll discover that we're not as free as we think. What happens when you can control your inner speech? Would you finally be free from mental struggle, or would you just be trapped in an even more sophisticated maze? Your inner voice is the most personal thing about you. It's the you that no one else hears, the voice that carries your secrets, your doubts, your hopes. And yet, most people never stop to think about it, never question where it came from or who's really in control. But maybe it's time to start. Because if you can understand the voice inside your head, you can begin to understand yourself. And isn't that what we're all really looking for? So next time you hear that voice, ask yourself, is this who I really am? Or is this who I've been told to be? Thank you for sticking with me through this journey into your mind. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment about what your inner voice has been saying lately.